city's expensive.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lord Aaron here of the Aaron Gaming Network. I've been promising to make a top 10 or 5 list for quite some time. There's just one problem with that. These things take forever to edit. Because this is my first time making this kind of list, I wanted to start with a game that I know very well. I've played it recently. I've beaten it again for the 800th time. And I have a pretty good idea about this game. So I'm going to start off with a game I know well, its integrated systems and whatnot. And we're going to start off with something simple. Now this game has age on it. Not a lot of people are really talking about it, especially with the ill-fated Agents of Mayhem. The Saints Row series future doesn't necessarily look so bright, but that could change soon. So, now, I'm a little nervous, but I gotta get out of my comfort zone and finally make a list. This is Aaron's list of the top 5 overpowered weapons in Saints Row 4. I love this game, even if it is a bit glitchy sometimes. I love the fact that you can play as a girl in a thong because I'm a pervert. Why lie about it? But the combat in this game isn't really that bad, and this game isn't what I would call difficult. However, playing it on hardcore mode, sometimes you may get a surprise death. But once you have these weapons in your arsenal, you can kick ass in this game without batting an eye. And just so you know, I will be making a separate list of the most overpowered, well, powers in this game. As you well know, since you're in a simulated version of Steelport, you have access to ridiculously overpowered superpowers, which make this game, which is not that hard in the first place, dumb easy, even on hardcore mode. In fact, this game is so easy sometimes that people have handicapped themselves. I have done handicap playthroughs of this game. Well, anyway, let me shut up. These are Lord Aaron's top 5 overpowered weapons in Saints Row 4. Starting our list is a kind of obscure gun. It's very carefully hidden, and I will show how to find this weapon when I'm done demonstrating it. This is a prime example of don't judge something by its size. Giggity giggity. Although it is little, the Tiny Cricket, well actually the game calls it the Tiny Pistol, is without a doubt a broken weapon. But it's number 5. Why, you ask? Because its recharge rate is utterly ridiculous. And it fires so hard that it knocks your character back. Now to show this weapon in action. Alright. As you can see, it is very powerful. Once fully upgraded, this weapon will destroy anything in its path. But as you can see, it runs out of juice even when fully upgraded, and you have to wait for it to charge up to at least 25%, and it does knock your character back, and it does take a while to charge. But a fully charged shot at any enemy will devastate them. Unfortunately, due to the fact that it takes so long for it to charge, this weapon comes in at number 5. Alright, if you want this weapon for yourself, here's what you do. Go to Let's Pretend, which is located right here on the map. Just go all the way down here. And head into this area that says employees only. Okay, I guess you have to shoot it. and it will open. Come down here. That may trigger the police. And you'll enter this strange room with this weird floating water or whatever. And you'll enter this secret room here. This has all the developers. You can shoot their heads. Inside the bathroom, you'll find a sex doll taking a dump. And on this chair here, you will find the tiny cricket, as I like to call it. So if you want to try this gun out for yourself, that's how you get it. But be warned, this thing takes forever to charge. And as you can see, it killed aliens that weren't even on the same floor as me. Very powerful, but the charging makes it a little less useful. Now let's move on to number 4. Oh yes, you already know where I'm going with this. This is a custom disintegrator. This disintegrator uses a different skin, which you can select when you purchase this weapon. And yes, skins do affect how the gun fires. It's not just for cosmetic looks. This is the most upgraded version of the disintegrator, and once you get this particular skin on it and fully upgrade it, this weapon is broken as hell. It literally disintegrates enemies in one hit, and once fully upgraded, it will not overheat, and you can use it almost indefinitely. One of my favorite weapons. Let's see this beautiful thing in action. On any random person,
It is a bad idea to make me
the weapon will disintegrate them in one shot, making this effectively a one-hit kill. You get this weapon in the main story. 3 shots is enough to set a car on fire. Let's see if I can get some aliens to start attacking. Beautiful. This weapon is definitely OP and definitely worth getting. In any part of the game, it is very useful. Unfortunately, it doesn't become so useful until you upgrade it. So hang in there if you're playing this game legit on hardcore mode. I would definitely invest into at least getting this thing halfway charged up. It will simply obliterate your enemies and you'll be cruising and relaxing. It also disintegrates solid objects as well, which is not that useful, but hey, it's something, right?
You must be mad to take me on.
Alright, time for number 3. So to all my Americans watching this, do you feel patriotic? Well, the nice developers who created this masterpiece have decided to award our American patriotism by giving us the right to bear arms. And in this case, the right to bear America. This is one of the most broken weapons in the game, and it plays patriotic music while you wield it. It has an alternate fire mode, one that fires firecracker-like projectiles, and one that fires a flamethrower and some type of missiles, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this weapon does consume ammo, and until you unlock the ability to have infinite ammo, you really can't have that much fun with it. However, during the story, once you unlock this bad boy, if you're in the middle of an intense fight with a bunch of alien pricks, whip out America and teach them that we are the country you don't F with. USA, USA. Let's see this bad boy in action. Alright, Let's create some carnage. I'm not even gonna bother trying to talk over this weapon. Things are gonna get a little loud.
Too easy.
All right, let's switch to the missiles. Good gravy god. Do I need to show any more than that? With infinite ammo, this weapon is broken. You can simply wipe things out in a matter of seconds. This is a crazy weapon to use at any point in the game, but the earlier you get it, the better. I don't remember if this is upgradable or not, but if it is, get those upgrades and use this. There are other variants of this gun, like the knife thrower and all other kinds of big minigun type weapons, but none of them even comes close to the beautiful American beauty known as the America missile launching, flame throwing, just ridiculous war starting machine right here. Comes in at number 3. What could possibly beat this? Well, we have to look at things from a perspective. The earlier you are in the game, the harder it is until you get your superpowers, but it doesn't take long to become OP. And for number 2, we have just the delicate little morsel. It doesn't take long to get this weapon, and I suggest you start upgrading it as soon as we can, or you can. Excuse me, I may be a little drunk. Anyway, number 2. Alright, so this is where many of you may roll your eyes at me and say, Aaron, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? How could these weapons be better than the ones you already stated? Just hear me out. These are not special weapons. You get them at the start of the game almost. They start you off with a crappy pistol, but eventually you will get the .F5 Fletcher heavy pistol. These are not hard to find, and once fully upgraded, they are immensely wonderful. But here's why they are number 2. You get these early. You headshot an enemy, the enemy dies. The earlier you are in the game, the harder the game is, especially on hardcore mode. But with these guns, as long as you can shoot, and it's pretty simple because the enemy AI in this game isn't necessarily that great. You get headshots, you kill an enemy. With these weapons in the early game and beyond, I have killed more enemies with these than any other weapon. Even the number 1 spot, because getting headshots is not that difficult. These weapons are the most practical, most easy to use, and quite frankly, badass weapons in the game. Not everything that explodes, is necessarily the best thing in the world. Sometimes it's the simple things. And with the simple little, what is that called? Reticle or circle thing, whatever, you can shoot anything very easily with a headshot. This thing is not practical on big enemies like Wardens, but I'm talking about early game to mid game. These guns are all I used one time, and I didn't even notice I didn't have another weapon. That's how good they are. Let's check them out. Now, I won't lie, these weapons are more useful when you're doing the main story. And I have the wrong weapon, hold on. Look at that. Took him down in no time. Now, obviously, you wouldn't use these guns to stand out in the open and die, but when it comes to main story missions, you will be hard-pressed to find better weapons. But if you're in an open area like this, these guns are not that practical. But as you can see, it wipes aliens out, and on the main story, this is my go-to weapon. Later on in the game, maybe not so much. But that does not stop them from being number 2. Against tougher enemies, maybe not so much. But you would be hard-pressed to find better weapons for the beginning of the game. Mark my words, guys.
Some days, not even I can stop me.
Look at how easy it is to get headshots. Another headshot. Another one. I'm telling you guys, this battle may not be the greatest example. I will say that they're not that practical in a battle like this, but early in the game, these are your go-to weapons. Trust me. Unfortunately, due to the fact that you cannot fight tougher enemies with these guns, keeps them out of the number 1 slot. Obviously, these are limited in use compared to some of the other weapons, but this is my personal list, and I absolutely adore these little pistols, and they have saved my butt more times than I could count. And if I wasn't lazy, I'd do some main story missions to show you what I mean. But until you play a new game on hardcore mode, you won't really appreciate these guns. So unfortunately, these pistols cannot be number 1. In order to take the number 1 spot, the weapon would have to be useful for all types of enemies. Now you may disagree with these guns being number 2, but there's no denying the number 1 choice. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for number 1. This, in my opinion, is the most broken, overpowered gun in Saints Row 4 that'll make you say, "What were they thinking?" Another headshot. I'm telling you, folks. Alright, so we've covered the tiny pistol, which was effective but charges too much. We had the 2 dual-wielding pistols that I personally love on hardcore mode because 1 headshot kills all enemies. We had America, of course, overpowered, crazy war-starting gun. But above all these weapons I've shown you, there is one weapon, and those of you who watch my Saints Row playthroughs will already know what the number one for me is. Now, some of you may disagree with this list, but this is my personal list. It's not written in stone. You don't like my list? Make one of your own. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the most broken weapon in Saints Row 4. The Thump Gun with this skin on it. I don't remember what the skin's name is. You can find it yourself in customization. I highly recommend you customize it and you upgrade this gun as soon as possible, because this gun is so stupidly broken that I almost feel bad for using it. While it doesn't have the explosive capabilities of America, once fully upgraded, heck, you don't even have to upgrade this gun. This gun by default is stronger than every single gun I've showed you so far in terms of damage. This gun is ridiculous. Once you fully upgrade it, however, you will not need another weapon. As soon as you get this weapon, you will not need another weapon. It mows through enemies like they're paper. This is the Thump Gun. Now, the only downside is it does overheat, but as long as you can control your testosterone, that won't be an issue, because once fully upgraded, look how fast the meter drains. Overheating is not a problem. Let's see this bad boy in action. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. Your enemies don't stand a chance. Especially if you use this gun on story missions. Watch how quickly it takes one of these down. Look at that. About 6 shots. Once I got this weapon, I rolled my eyes at how broken it is. Now, it does overheat sometimes, but it doesn't stay that way for very long. This tank doesn't want to blow up. All right, we got a glitch tank here. Beautiful. Using this weapon is like cheating, I'm telling you.
You must be mad to take me on.
You tell him, sweetie. I don't know what's going on with this tank. It should have exploded by now. Is it indestructible? Look at that. Even America can't take this tank down. This tank is glitched. It should have exploded by now. I don't know what's going on. This is a very glitchy game. But as you can see, the Thump Gun is without a doubt the most broken in this game. Unfortunately, with these open battles where I'm surrounded by enemies, it may look like I'm losing a lot, but that's because I'm fighting a ridiculous battle in an open city with numerous enemies. So of course, I'm going to lose a lot of health. But the point of this is to showcase how easily these guns kill these enemies. You would never be in a fight like this, normally. Now let's see how quickly the Thump Gun can take out this warden. Look at that. In less than 30 seconds, we killed a warden. I rest my case. In my opinion, this is the most broken weapon in Saints Row 4. And now, of course, I couldn't press the buttons fast enough. That's not the gun's fault. That's the stupid game's fault. Let's try again.
You could not talk this out.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, some of you may disagree with this list, and I will admit, every one of those battles I would have lost health if I didn't have the don't die cheat. But these weapons are practically going to make your game easier, especially if you play story mode. Now, if you're going to go out in the middle of the street on hardcore mode and fight hordes and hordes of aliens, use America. Don't use the thump gun, obviously. But don't let these battles determine these weapons' standings. These weapons are utterly broken, and this is the most broken of them all. If you don't believe me, get Saints Row for yourself and test each one of these weapons out and tell me that they don't make your life easier, especially on story mode, especially for completing challenges. These weapons are your go-to. This was my first top 5 list. There will be more in the future. I know it may have been a little sloppy. I'm working on it, but this was my first one. I was nervous, and I know I probably could have did it better. But I'm trying, guys, to give you guys as much entertainment as I can. So please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and all other social media. It's in my channel description, and I don't know, I'm wasted right now. And also, if you wish to donate, I do have a PayPal for those of you who are feeling generous. Anyway, I'm Lord Aaron. Godspeed. Okay, yeah, this weapon tends to overheat. Doesn't stop it from being the best, though. I mean, nothing's perfect, right?